Today, hate crimes against Asians is becoming the hottest issues in the American society. So I would like to discuss this topic with you today. And I would like to make a promise that, I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not going to say this is good or bad. I would like to talk about it objectively, especially focusing on physical mechanisms of hate. Okay? Uh, Here I have two papers, so I prepared for you to read. So listen to this. This paper is by Dr. Ki Sun. And he says, hate crime is defined as an offense in which the victim is targeted because of the actual or perceived race, color, religion, disability, sexual orientation, or national origin of that victim. Okay? So victim is targeted on that. Here it says the offender's characteristic include childhood traumas, harsh treatments, rigid thinking, categorization, dehumanization, and sense of self-vulnerability. This scholar points out those who act out has already carrying some kind of source of anger due to their childhood because they received harsh treatment or planted some rigid thinking by parents. They need to have something that they can always depend on, clear and solid. Okay? This is the core of hate. To survive under such harsh environment, they need to have something solid that they can depend on, not the fuzzy one, black or white always. It makes sense, right? One more thing. Hate crime is not an intergroup conflict, nor a group action. Rather, far less than 1%. Less than 1% of the members of the particular group acts out. And using the victim's membership to justify his offense. Okay? This is in common with I have just mentioned, right? The source of aggression is already in the offender. And the other paper, this is written by Dr. Sarah Ahmed. And Dr. Sarah said, hate crime is based on fantasy. This fantasy must be repeated because it has no origin in the reality. No origin in the reality. It is always repeated with a difference. So this means the target must not be specific someone. But as long as that target is different, it could happen anytime. And why they attack other people of different races? Because this other threatens their existence in their imagination. So in their mind, it is either us or them. Okay? We or they. A line is already drawn between those two. And this is based upon the imagination, not the reality, because of the some kind of special, difficult childhood. To survive that, they needed to have some kind of rigid thinking to draw a line, okay? And based upon that, I would like to proceed with my own discussion, okay, with you. So, like I said, those individuals acting out is deviant from the group they belong to. So it is just a simple crime of invading into others. So, I'm a professional, Oh, by the way, my name is Dr. Samurai, and I'm an international social pathologist, okay? So this is one of the major topic that I deal with. You check the individual who acted out this hate crime, and they must have patterns of similar offenses in their life, okay? Not only one-time deal, because it comes from their persona. Persona is dependable information, unshakable personality. It is an individual crime. But what we have to be careful about is the part that I said the offender tried to justify their crimes based upon what the majority of the group are probably feeling or thinking, or at least they feel that way, okay? Otherwise, you cannot justify your act, right? So what is more problematic is they feel like their attack is going to be justified because of the group thinking they belong to. And this cannot be denied. And like I mentioned, the group itself could be feeling some kind of threat. Okay? I'm not sugarcoat, the discussion I'm making today. Looking back a couple of months ago, we saw this presidential election 2020, right? I uploaded whether Red America and Blue America can be united. In that video, I said what is in the very core is this is white America versus multiracial America. United States must choose clear direction. National leader must officially announce that direction, that America is going to be white America or multiracial America, because it was that fight. I do understand how white people are thinking, okay? I have, as you know it very well, many prison friends, right? Some of them are like white supremacists, and they are very good friends to me too, okay? I am open-minded, okay? And they have this strong feeling of entitlement that America is established by white people first. Okay? At the time, like Native American people were living, those who made it as a nation is white people. They have this pride. No denial for that. Okay? So in their mind, they feel like they are the owner, and those who came later are like those who pay rents to them. That's how a part of the white people are feeling. Because I'm not talking about all the white people. Some people joined Black Lives Matter actions and stuff too. So, but you know what I'm talking about. White people feel like they are the owner. They owns the United States. And against this, how those other races who came late are thinking is that although they look like a black or yellow like me or brown, but they were born there and raised there, could be for more generations than Aryan people. You know, not only Aryan people, but those white people, right? So they feel like they deserve a citizenship because they were born there and they worked on society. They paid their due too. So this is where there's a conflict against each other, right? White people feeling like an owner, but other people who came late also feel they shed blood and sweat to make this country better, right? They pay their due. Although some people would say there still could be civil war or some kind after Mr. Trump lost the election. But, you know, this is a little bit off the topic, but I don't think so. Once you lose flag, the other people suddenly weakens. No judgment into that, but that's what happens. Like group fights and stuff. The boss was beaten up. All the rest kind of retreat. That's a human mentality. But what I have to mention is this. I wrote an academic paper about. This is America, right? And the blue states and the red states, and white people, black people, yellow people, brown people, and all the other kinds of people, right? And what is happening in the prison? I think you might have seen part of it or might have read some of it. But in prison, there's always racial lines. It is not that visible, but once things happens, like fights between two different racial gangs, those lines suddenly came up so clear, and you have to, belong to your own group. Otherwise, you are going to be punished, right? This is one of the best example of compartmentalization. One thing is actually made up of smaller parts, compartments. And this compartmentalized situation is very weak. I'm talking about science, okay? Compartmentalized state, once they receive external pressure or once they feel strong stress, it divides into each compartments. You understand? What is happening in the United States is this compartmentalization. And Once this compartmentalization take hold, what happens later is what you saw in Germany before. Dehumanization of Jewish people, and like Holocaust, Auschwitz, and things like that. They are not human beings anymore. Once they draw a line, and us and them, they are just pests and germ that could harm us. So we have to do something proactive and things like that. So this is what, that said, let's think about what has been happening. They are attacking Asian people, mainly Chinese people, right? Because of the mass and death and disease they see. And they could be more an imagination of them. But this coronavirus severely damaged the American society. That's their excuse, right? And those who have these patterns of attacking others, attacking not only Chinese people, but Japanese, Koreans, Taiwanese, Samoans, and stuff like that, because it is not based on reality. You understand from this example? They don't care whether it is real Chinese people or not. And even if it was real Chinese people, you are not sure that person brought disease or not. I talk about some extreme case, but suppose, the virus is really a China virus, like Mr. Trump says. It is made in mainland China, right? So those in America do not have anything to do with that. Objectively thinking. I mean, it could be a little bit but them could, went back and brought it back. But that's a very rare case. We cannot say they are the ones who brought it to America or Europe and stuff like that. But, they don't care if it is Chinese or Japanese or Koreans or Samoans. If I were in America now, I could be being attacked too. But a little bit before, what happened in American society? It was Black Lives Matter, right? A few months ago, it was black people who were attacked, mainly by, white police officers who have distorted thinking about race due to their, upbringing. Before that, what did we see? It was caravans from Central America. Migrants came in caravans from Central America to avoid their wars that is happening in their own country and stuff, or gangs and stuff like that. So the target has been changing all the time. This is true, right? And looking back all the American history, it was Native American, African American, Irish American, Mexican, Chinese, Polish, and Russians, Germans, Japanese, Italians, Cuban, Puerto Ricans, and Jewish, it's always changing. And that is America. Different races came back to the United States. And that is making America now, right? And I like to get into closer to the conclusion of our discussions. Okay, seeing this, those white people who think America is your own country. Okay, I have no offense, like I said in the beginning. Okay, what do you think is realistic solution now? You already have so many immigrants other than you, but your ancestor was also immigrants, right? Like Mayflowers and stuff like that. Can you remove all that? Or can you live separately? At the designated area? Is it realistic? I like to say what is happening in a country is based upon their myth and their own history. Their myth and history is affecting our current lifestyles very much. And America's history is immigration back to back of different races. That I don't think anybody can stop in reality. And even if I one time talked to my white supremacist friend about what do you think is going to be possible, he said, indeed, I want to send all of them back to their country, but it's going to cost a lot, right? And that is impossible, like a dream story, right? Here, I'm talking about the reality. Of course, as a nation, United States must have certain clear direction regarding immigration. But it cannot be exclusive. That's what I'm talking about. Based upon the history. There's always already image synced deeply into American minds that nobody can remove. Step out of America. Let's look at this planet Earth. What is happening now? That young Ms. Greta Thunberg said, global warming, ocean plastic, and wildfires, and a great part of the Amazon is gone, and it's already at the tipping point. Once you go across that, you can never come back. There's no oxygen for us to breathe in. Why this many distractions happened? This earth is small ball, sphere, that plane can fly around only in 35 hours. Just a small, tiny, teeny ball. That's Earth. And on this small ball, we draw lines. This is China. This is Korea. This is North Korea. This is Japan. This is America. And all that. But we don't see any lines like we saw on the map. Do we see any lines in the sky? No. That's all man-made. And based on that man-made nations, national competitions going on. And this competition put us into unnecessary distractions to possess more and more of their own, right? And this distraction itself will be making us impossible to live on this miracle planet. That is the only planet that has living beings and greens. I'm telling you the truth. This is a miracle planet in the whole universe. On this miracle planet of a small ball, everybody is competing and trying to obtain what is more than necessary. And that is the reason why environment is destroyed so much. And it is like a ticking time now. That said, what can we do? There are only two choices. This is not only about America, but about the whole globe, about the whole earth. One choice is keep fighting against each other, like China versus United States and stuff like that. That is happening everywhere in the Middle East and, everywhere, right? Are we going to continue this compartmentalization? If we push through our own fixed mind, like that leads to hate crimes based upon our imagination and keep fighting against each other, it is just a matter of time seeing all that is happening now environmentally. We are doomed, like we are on a Titanic. The ship itself is going down. On that sinking ship, we are fighting against each other to take more space of our own. Are we going to take that path? And I would like to tell you one more thing. This compartmentalization, put it more simply, us or them, right? Ours or enemies, right? And we don't care what happens to our enemies. What is going to happen on this 35-hour plane ride small ball? Enemies everywhere, getting much, much worse than now. Where there is action, there's always reaction. Because we attack others, we are always afraid of others attacking back at us, right? If we do not attack, there's no reaction. That's the logic. So compartmentalization is going to put us on a track that is fixed to our doomsday. And also, in time, we are going to be surrounded by our enemies. And that is what's going to happen in America. You can't even walk to a mall. Remember? Couple of years ago, you can't even go to festivals because of so many mass shootings are going on. That is one piece of gracious that is going to happen if we stay focusing on our own profits and interests only. That's one way. Keep doing this compartmentalization thing and approving the hate crime. And second choice is try not to draw lines. Because once you draw lines and put us and them against each other, once you start thinking that way, one negative step is going to be followed by another negative step, right? If we do not draw lines, there's no us or them. I said in the beginning of this discussion, I'm not going to be judgmental. or I'm not going to push my own philosophy or anything, but physically thinking. If we do not draw lines and try to trust others, no negative reactions coming back at us. I will tell you one thing based upon my own experience, 20 years experience as a prison counselor. There's one inmate who was about to be released in 2 months or so, and I checked each one of the inmates in my prison class. I asked this person that, are you going to be okay, you think? This time you go out, you think you can find your own niche and never come back to prison again? What do you think he said to me? He said, yes, I strongly believe this time this is it. And I asked why you can be so positive. And he goes, this CO, correctional officer in charge of my factory, he put me as a leader of 30 people. And I could handle it for 2 years as a chief of that factory. I could never do that before. But this correctional officer, he trusted me and put everything on my shoulder for 2 years. And I carried it out without failing halfway, as I have always been. So this time, sir, I think I can make it in society. You know, I do not know what kind of backgrounds each of you are brought up and what kind of religion you belong to. But reality and nature comes first before any kind of philosophy or religion, because all those are man-made. And we have to look at the facts, and we have to think about what is going to happen. There are only 2 ways. Keep going as we are, or just try changing our lifestyles and just try trusting other races of different skin colors, or just be kind and nice once and see what kind of reaction you get back. And like I said, on this small ball of 35 hours flight, I think that is the only way anybody can survive. Other than that, we are doomed for sure in time. This is not religion or philosophy or anything. This is based upon our survival, including you and me and everybody. You know, I would like to finish this video class with 2 wise words. One is that being different is being beautiful. That's what I heard years ago. Being different is being beautiful and being interesting. One other thing is by a Japanese poet who already passed. He said, if you compete there's always a shortage. But if you share, we always have extras. Forget about everything and how you brought up and what kind of philosophy or religion you have in your mind. I'm talking about the big picture. You got to start thinking about the big picture. Seeing so many distractions creeping up to us now. And based upon that, which way is more practical and more promising? I repeat, being different is being beautiful and interesting. And if you compete, there's shortage, but if you share, there's always extras and surplus. Thank you very much for listening, and I would like to hear what you have to say, your own opinion about this. And I would like to make this channel as our global station to make everybody happier on this planet as long as our life lasts. Okay, thank you very much. You have a good time, okay?